Well, I knew that I was sickle cell. I must have known. But I didn't start suffering it so much till I got into secondary school. It was a very funny experience. So this day, my math teacher came to class and called names of people I know who were defaulting in assignments, and my name came up. I was the only girl amongst some other 6 guys. And they had been beating these guys, and it was quite 6 strokes of heavy beating. And other classmates were laughing, and so I was determined that I'm not going to shake or, children gimmicks. And so they gave me first stroke, second stroke, third stroke, fourth stroke, fifth stroke, fifth. By first stroke, second stroke, all I was doing here was, hey, 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 you know how they were hailing me. And then by fifth stroke, I just found myself on the floor. And then this man, who was quite big, carried me and rushed me to the sick bay. And then they brought me around, and then they realized I was sickle cell. And so that was the day that there was this unwritten rule in my school that Timi don't touch. That situation, anytime they want to punish my class, I'm like, say, GSS2, go and kneel down outside. Timi, you stand up, go to your class. It was cool at first for the first 2-3 times, and then my classmates started hitting me. And it wasn't funny because my life turned really bad in GS2. That was when they started calling me all sorts of names because they didn't like me. They just felt I was receiving special treatment from school. My peers started bullying me, calling me names. They called me things like rats and things like, because I was even actually a really small child. They called me things like rats, but they called me different names, and then it used to hurt me so much. I found out that I started withdrawing. I stopped talking because I remember being lively until about years 2. I stopped talking. I became quiet. I became moody. I became depressed. I was always coming home crying all the time from one bullying or the other. And again, I was always falling ill. I was always out of school, or they were always rushing me to the hospital from school. I remember the school nurse was always taking me to the hospital. Going to university, I entered university at 16. I went to a private university. I was 16. I looked 12. Someone the term late bloomer. I looked really young, and so my confidence was not so. I didn't have so much confidence. I didn't want to always go out because I felt my self-esteem was, it affected me socially. I didn't have so many friends. When my friends were having boyfriends in university, I felt like who would want to even toast me or go out with me. So I remember that I was an okay student in year 1. I had a 2-1. In year 2, because of all the things I was going through emotionally and physically, being always sick and all that, I dropped to a pass. You enter university, they do a couple of tests for you, and one of the tests showed that I had an enlarged heart. So the school sent me away. And I remember coming home and my parents appealing to the school, they took me back. Year 2, the same thing happened, and at that time I was just fed up. I was fed up with life. I was fed up with all the suffering I felt I had gone through. I felt that God was unfair to me. Of course, my parents decided to use legal means to get me back to school. And then I went back to school, and I couldn't be bothered. But I had too many carryovers. I had like 9 carryovers, maybe out of 10 courses, or 12 courses. So I remember that in my year 3, I had read so much, trying to get my grades back up. And then 2 weeks to the exams, or a week to the exam, I started feeling sick. This is one of the worst sicknesses I've had till date. And I remember that I lay down on my bed. I had just come from like a prayer meeting, early morning prayer meeting, and then I came back and I lay down on my bed, and I was shivering, I was shaking, I was scared, I was in pain and everything. So I lay on my bed, and I was determined not to let anybody know. Let me use psychology to push it out of my system. And I remember saying, God, please, I've read, I've done everything. I really need to pass these exams. Like, I can't miss school again. I can't miss this exam, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I had what I would call an experience. It was I saw myself in another atmosphere, and it was like I was having a conversation with someone. That the person I spoke to told me that I will fall ill, but that he will help me. And the person I spoke to also said that sickle cell will not kill me. It's for a purpose. I remember I woke up and then I was back on my feet. I ran around, I ran to my friend's room and I told her, guess what? I just had this experience. It was awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then 1 hour later, I fell ill again. You know, I remember I was bleeding through everywhere you could bleed through. I bled through my nose, I was throwing up blood, I was urinating blood. I was, you know, everywhere blood can come out. And I remember then a lot of people, a lot of pastors, because by that time my dad was a pastor. A lot of pastors were coming to my bedside, praying for me, worried. I remember there was this particular situation where I was having one of my episodes, and then the doctor was with me. He had tried everything, gave me so many injections, and at that point, the doctor just stopped everything and just held my hands, sat down beside me because he's a Christian, and started praying for me. And at that point, I knew that if this doctor can be as confused as this, it's only God that can bring me through this. But I just had this confidence. You know, I just had this confidence that this won't kill me. It won't kill me. It won't kill me. The doctor at the private hospital told me he couldn't treat me anymore. He didn't know how to treat me anymore. So he referred me to a general hospital and said if they don't treat me in general hospital, my parents have to look for funds to send me abroad. As soon as he referred me and my parents were taking me with a letter to general hospital, it was like I was back on my feet. By the time we got to general hospital, they were asking me, are you sure you are really ill? Like, you know, they were asking me several questions. When I was coming out of school, I really prayed. I said, God, please, I need you to help me with a job. I don't think I have the energy or the strength to look for work like normal people do, but I want to be normal. I want to prove that I can be outstanding in whatever I do. And I remember that when I came out of work, God answered me with a job. You know, one of the things that the place I got employment for NYC, they told me they don't retain new coppers, but I just felt like God would take care of me. But I remember then that I now had this boss who did not care what your health says. She just wanted things done. I remember there was even an episode I was home sick, or I was in the hospital sick, and then she called me and said I need to show up at work, and I practically needed to remove the drip from my hand to appear to work to give her what she needed. I remember always telling her I'm just a copper. I always did long hours, weekends, public holidays, but it proved that something to me. It told me something that I can work harder, because other coppers didn't even used to work. I used to work so much. I can work harder and show myself. And then I was noticed, and so they retained me. You know, it's boosted my self-esteem. It showed me that I really can do anything I set my mind to. And then I was determined that I would break the psychological stigma I had. So I stopped letting people know that I was a sickler, even though I would be away from work, but they won't exactly know why I was so bad. And then after my 3rd or 4th year in working, I remember that I had this boss who every time I would just be away from, I'll just be away from work, and he'd be like, are you sure you're not just staying at home for your own purpose? Until one day he came to see me in the hospital having a very bad episode, before he realized that, wow, you were really sick. And then he realized that I was a sickler, and then his perception towards me changed. I always get good feedback from my bosses, especially. So when I fall ill, they don't mind too much, because they know that I'm a hardworking person, so to speak. So I remember that I knew that like 3 years ago, I was tired of always having to take time off work. And then I got determined that I need to find a way to manage my health. Because before then I'd been stubborn. They said drink enough water, I will not drink water, take your folic acid normally, I won't take it. And then I remember I had a cousin who was aspiring to be a doctor. So I asked, and she was based in America. So I asked her a lot of questions, about certain drugs that I heard about, and then she did her own research for me and came back to me and even told me, oh, she's heard about Sickle Cell Foundation, she's heard about Dr. Akinyoju or Professor Akinyoju, and she's heard about this and that. She would hook me up. You know, she went out of her way all the way from America to see how things could be easier for me. And so because of the steps she took, I decided to reach out to Professor Akinyoju. And he told me about his clinic in Victoria Island. And so I joined his clinic. Before then, I didn't want to go to any sickle cell clinic. I just felt, what would they tell me I don't already know? But unfortunately, that was extremely wrong. That I thought I knew so much, but I want you to talk about that because generally, many of our patients have that feeling. Yeah, that they know so much. Yeah, we feel like we know so much because of the several treatments we've been through. Like, what painkiller can you give me that I don't know about now? Well, she beats folic acid. Okay, today is one medicine, we try it doesn't work. And tomorrow is another medicine, we try it doesn't work. Do you understand? Like, people always tell us about one drug and they overhype it. And then we take it and we find out there's really no difference in us. So I found out that when I joined that clinic, they first of all did several tests for me. And then they spoke to me about different vaccines. And I started asking, okay, what does this vaccine mean? They were like, okay, you know, there's some bacteria that trigger crisis. This vaccine will try and eliminate as much of the bacteria as possible. This vaccine will try and, do you understand? Different things like that. And then they also told me about, I always get the pronunciation wrong, hydroxyurea or something. Hydroxyurea, yes. And then I've asked them what this medication was. You know, I realized that this medication is for cancer patients. It's originally for cancer patients. That means it's strong. And this is, if sickle cell patients take this thing, you know, it shows you the extent to which how serious this disease is. But this drug has been in short, it's the best thing that happened to me. So I found out that before I do small work, maybe like small housework, maybe I sweep or something, I start panting because I'm tired. This was eliminated. I can work for hours on end. And I found out that I was happy because I was healthier, I was happier. I just had a general vibe, spring in my steps, like I could do anything, like bring it on, you know? And that helped me. They also gave me another drug like paludrin, which is an anti-malaria, which prevents malaria, and folic acid. They gave me the correct prescription of folic acid. And so it made me realize that really, a lot of sicklers need to know that they can live better lives. They can have a better outlook to life. They can achieve. I remember maybe meeting one person that was AS and I really liked, and I know he really liked me. And then it just occurred to me one day that I need to find out his genotype. And so I did. And then I found out it was AS. I was extremely disappointed. He didn't know that I was SS. And so I had to break it off, giving him flimsy excuses. And so at that point, I made up my mind that I will not date I won't go through these emotional issues anymore. So I started looking out for AA. And I'm just like, like, why is my life so different? People that are AA or even AS don't think about these things too much. From the onset, I just come out plain and tell them that, look, I have sickle cell. I hope you are AA, and obviously, if they are AA, I end up dating them. After telling the guy I'm sickle cell, are you okay with it? He was like, he's fine with it. There is no such thing as there won't be any such stigma from his end. Ended up telling me that, making it sound like he was doing me a favor by dating me, making me feel like he was going to have to fight so many battles just to be with me amongst his family members. I also had this other person that came and said, oh yeah, sickle cell, so what? Marry me. And then I was a bit weary at first, and then I started getting to know him, only for him to be telling me things like, we are saying let's marry me and you are not. That's how many people do you think will marry you with this your situation? And I was like, what? And there's nothing wrong with me, man. Like, why would you be feeling like, you know, it's a negative? The most recent one actually was the most painful because I actually thought that, you know, things were moving on ahead, and then only for him to tell me one day that he would have married me a lot after this was after about a year of dating. He would have married me a long time ago if not that I was sickle cell, because I'm such a wife according to him. And then it got me thinking, like, why do I have such a plague, for God's sake? Why is my life like this? But I know that there are people that have had successful relationships that have led to marriage, despite the fact that they have sickle cell. And I also I'm also of the mentality that sickle cell doesn't define me, you know, in a relationship. I can do all the things that a normal woman can do. Started as about me crying one day, you know, and then me writing out. I just found out that I picked up my pen because I was tired of crying. Picked up my pen and I started writing the story of my life. And writing the story of my life made me realize how blessed I have been and how much sorrow I have been through, but I always come out well. Then, you know, Greg came along. We thought about the idea of starting a sickle cell blog, and then that was it. I just thought, okay, let me just put out information. Like, I have done a lot of research in the past. I know what has made my health get better. And let me share this information with other people. It's been nice. And, you know, the first story was accepted so much. And then the second story was even more accepted. The third story, and people started writing us, sending us emails, asking us questions. And then one day, people started asking for help. We couldn't say no. I mean, out of compassion, I was like, wow, people are really suffering. Started helping people. We do outreaches, we do online awareness, and we do physical campaigns too. We pay medical bills, we pay a lot of medical bills. And so this one is resolved, it's made us start thinking of actually starting our own clinic. We also do youth empowerment. We have a support group where we support each other. So our aim is to pull each other up. No down moments, no depression. Depression is not allowed. Some people are complaining and say we are too positive. But to be honest, sickle cell is a depressing disease. So why get stuck in the depression? I mean, we uplift each other. We need more people to help. Yes, we have volunteers and they've been wonderful so far. But sometimes we need specialized help. You know, we need people that would, like right now I'm looking for an auditor to audit our accounts. But auditors cost a lot of money. Like, I wish we could afford to employ people with the right skills, financing, people with skills like fundraising, people with skills like marketing. The future of Crimson Bow is so wow. I intend that Crimson Bow will be in every state of this nation. Of course, we have to start from home. I see us having schools where we offer education to people with this condition. I see Crimson Bow having many hospitals out there. I see Crimson Bow having many training centers. That's vocational training. As a sickle cell individual, you are like a total man. So I see us being able to cater to the total man. I'm so fulfilled. This thing is so fulfilling. Just thinking about the feedback. I mean, when we are doing it, we're not doing it to receive feedback, but you'll be shocked the kind of amount of lives we have saved or transformed.